Try again.
I hate computers.
Feelings mutual.
To many who grew up loving dinosaurs as I did, Jurassic Park was always a story about just that. Dinosaurs. A fun adventure with ample spooks and scares, but at its core, a spectacle for those fascinated by prehistoric life and the idea of them living alongside us. If we, as the intelligent human species, could facilitate such a thing, suddenly all of our paleontological questions regarding the dinosaurs, their behaviors, diet, physical appearance, the sounds they made, and the size they could reach, could all be answered. Suddenly, paleontology would be a field no longer about discovery, but about mere observation. These types of questions were answered for the protagonists of Jurassic Park, namely, Dr. Alan Grant. Alan is a paleontologist, a man who studies the fossils of extinct creatures, a man fascinated with dinosaurs, as seen in both the 1990 Michael Crichton novel and in the film. However, Grant is not only fascinated by the dinosaurs themselves, but he's intrigued by the mystery surrounding them. He's a man who prefers things the old-fashioned way, a man who's not just skeptical of modern technology, but fearful of the problems that replacing humans with technology will cause. In the movie, for instance, he gripes about modern fossil imaging technology.
A few more years development and we won't even have to dig anymore. Where's the fun in that?
In the novel, he demonstrates a distaste for computers. Grant didn't like computers. He knew that this made him old-fashioned, dated as a researcher, but he didn't care. He found computers to be alien, mystifying machines. Grant enjoys answering questions like those I listed before, with fieldwork, quite literally uncovering the answers from within the Earth, exploring a world lost to time through only its remnants, just like a detective. It's through that process, putting together the pieces of the story like a puzzle, that he's satisfied with his results. This was the art of paleontology. This was also why he avoided technology. Computers, imaging technology, and other forms are, to him, like shortcuts to a result, without the need for that detective work. When the scenario from before comes true, dinosaurs returning to live alongside humans thanks to the power of genetic engineering, those questions are likewise answered, but without the process. To people like Grant, the novelty's gone. Because Jurassic Park isn't just a story about dinosaurs. Beneath all the thrills and spooks, it asks a deeper question. What happens when advancing technology removes the process, the detective work, if you will, that gave art its meaning? The process that made it art. When he arrives at Isla Nublar, the island home to Jurassic Park, Grant is obviously amazed by what he sees. To the south, rising above the palm trees, Grant saw a single trunk with no leaves at all, just a big curving stump. Then, the stump moved and twisted around to face the new arrivals. Grant realized that he was not seeing a tree at all. He was looking at the graceful, curving neck of an enormous creature, rising 50 feet into the air. He was looking at a dinosaur. He felt dizzy, as if the ground were sloping away too steeply. He had trouble getting his breath, because he was looking at something he had never expected to see in his life. Yet, he was seeing it. Grant is of course astounded at first. He immediately recognized the dinosaur as an Apatosaurus, a large sauropod from the Jurassic period, reaching lengths of 75 feet, weighing as much as 22 metric tons. Soon, he began to laugh. Those standing by were confused. He couldn't tell them that what was funny was that he had seen the animal for only a few seconds, but he had already begun to accept it, and to use his observations to answer long-standing questions in the field. Grant saw his questions answered after only a mere observation of the creature. For example, scientists believed large sauropods like apatosaurs needed to stand in water to support their weight, but this dinosaur clearly didn't need such a thing. Scientists believed apatosaurs to be slow, lumbering creatures, but this dinosaur was graceful and swift-moving. At first, he marveled at the fact that he was seeing a live dinosaur, but after spending a bit longer on the island, he began to contemplate what this actually means, for him and for the field of paleontology as a whole. Scientists had previously engaged in heated debates regarding dinosaurs, arguing over whose interpretation was correct. But now, if dinosaurs could be cloned, why, Grant's field of study was going to change instantly. The paleontological study of dinosaurs was finished. All of it was going to end. Paleontology, as Grant had to accept, was over. All of their questions were answered without any need for the detective work he enjoyed. Paleontology relied on the mystery of dinosaurs, of their absence. Bringing dinosaurs back, to him and others entranced by the art of paleontology, destroys the process that made those questions meaningful. While Jurassic Park was a story written in the 90s, this theme is encountered today. With a quick sentence prompt, you can receive detailed images within minutes or even seconds. This isn't limited to images though. Essays, books, assignments, and more can be written instantly, eliminating the need for a process, and eliminating the satisfaction that comes from piecing things together oneself. AI learning models have taken the spotlight in the technological advancement of the modern world. Like the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, the results of AI are often impressive. While a trained eye may spot subtle hints that the images or videos are AI generated, it surely won't remain that way for very long, as models are only improving and becoming more realistic. It won't be long until results that take AI a few minutes or even seconds to complete become absolutely indistinguishable from what true artists, writers, or photographers spend years on. Alan Grant is like an artist in today's day and age, suddenly having to come to terms with the fact that their life's work can be accomplished with a written prompt and a click of a button. It doesn't end there, though. Searching the internet used to give you valuable websites that answered your question. Now, at the top of every page is the AI overview, which, though not always, often gives inaccurate, even misleading information. This shortcut for research can prove detrimental. Literally, while doing research for this video, I got increasingly frustrated with having to see the AI overview at the top of every page that I tried to search. What's worse is the proliferation of AI-generated content flooding the sources of information that AI draws from itself. There's an amazing video by Kurzgesagt on YouTube that goes in depth on this topic. I've linked it in the description, so go watch it after this video ends if you have the time. In short, AI is trained by analyzing work that is already on the internet. It can track patterns and draw correlations based on what it sees, but it can't create anything of its own. Every response it gives is simply a prediction of the most probable word to follow each one before it. Image generation works similarly, using pre-existing images to predict what image it should generate, etc. However, when AI-generated misinformation floods the sources it analyzes and generates responses from, it only becomes increasingly more misinformed. Recent studies show that over 50% of online content is AI-generated. Seriously, go to Google Images and scroll for a moment, and you're bound to see it. I believe we as a species must eventually ask ourselves the question, is furthering the development of AI worth it? There's a line from Jurassic Park that sums the problem of AI up perfectly.
Done before.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Now that we know we could develop nearly perfect generative AI art, it's time to ask whether we should. Some argue that AI provides a tool for people without artistic talent to create art of their own, but that begs the question, what is art? While this question is debated and has no clear answer, of course, there's usually a common denominator: consciousness. Art, as a whole, requires a conscious expression of one's ideas, often using one's skills and talents. This expression, this consciousness, is the process that makes art, art. This is why Grant's paleontology is art. He's using his skills to interpret the fossils and ultimately derive meaning from them. This is also why AI art isn't art. There's no consciousness at play, only the work of a machine that draws from what's already been made. No matter what someone who believes they have no artistic talent creates, it carries infinitely more artistic value than something created with zero conscious thought or expression. Despite being decades old at this point, we can learn from the themes of Jurassic Park. Maybe the scientists developing these AI models are so preoccupied with whether they can, that they haven't stopped to think if they should, because the process of making something impressive is far more rewarding than the spectacle itself. Doing the detective work, putting the pieces of something together, filling in the gaps, perhaps lost to millions of years, answering questions yourself, and creating art will always be more satisfying than a prompt and a click of a button. Thank you for your time. This is Zave, signing out.